The wind bites at Marcus's face as he pedals through the streets of downtown Chicago. The cold air hits his skin, sharp and unforgiving, like it's trying to strip him of every bit of warmth he can hold on to. He has no choice. The smell of damp cardboard clings to his clothes. The rain-soaked packages, the stale air of the city, it all feels like a weight, a constant reminder of the struggle that is his life. But what always stings, what always cuts the deepest, is the way people look at him. He doesn't have to hear the words, doesn't need to feel the heat of the stare. It's the same as every other glance. "You don't belong here." Marcus tightens his grip on the handlebars, trying to ignore it. It's always hard, but he does. He approaches a delivery address. He slows his bike, feeling the familiar ache in his lower back. As he walks toward the house, the front door slams open before he can even ring the bell, the one that's all too familiar. "What the hell are you doing here?" Marcus doesn't even flinch, but the words still sting. "I've got a delivery for Mr." The man doesn't move, doesn't even acknowledge the words. Yeah, well, it's too late for that. The sound of it echoes in Marcus's chest. He knows he should just leave, find the next stop. Not yet. It's the weight of all the people who don't see him. "Get lost." The words replay in his mind and he swallows them down. Still, he turns away and pedals off, the tires humming against the wet road. Not yet. He doesn't have time to dwell on it. But a small part of him aches with a question he can't shake off. Why does it always feel like this? His story isn't just about delivering packages. It's about delivering hope in a world that often overlooks people like him. The next stop is a small apartment complex, the kind that looks like it hasn't been properly cared for in years. Marcus pauses at the base of the steps, looking up at the second-floor apartment. Maybe it's the way the windows are dark, like the place is abandoned even though it's not. The cold air is starting to settle into his bones now. Marcus's legs are heavy, and the ache in his back is starting to feel permanent. He never seems to get a break. He knocks on the door, and for a moment, there's nothing but silence. The door opens and a woman in her mid-30s stares at him, like she's deciding what he's worth. "Simmons," Marcus says, holding up the package, trying to keep his voice steady. "You're one of those delivery boys, aren't you?" He doesn't know what to say to that. It feels like it cuts deeper, like it's not just about the job, it's about him, about who he is. The woman snorts, shaking her head. "You people don't know how to do anything else." The words hit like a punch, even though they're delivered so casually. He's used to it. But it doesn't make it any easier. But he doesn't. The woman takes the package from him without another word, and as she turns to walk back inside, she mutters under her breath, loud enough for him to hear, "It's about time people like you knew your place." The door slams shut. His breath is shallow, his body trembling slightly. He doesn't know how to keep going, how to keep putting up with this. He always does. His legs ache, his back hurts, and his mind is racing with the same old thoughts. He wonders again, even though he already knows the answer. Always the same thing. People looking at him like he doesn't matter, like he's invisible unless they need something from him. Marcus's journey is far from over. Will he find the strength to keep going, or will the weight of the world finally break him? The wind is colder now. His legs are sore, his stomach growling with hunger, but he doesn't stop. There are still deliveries to make, still bills to pay, still mouths to feed. His next stop is a small corner store tucked between a laundromat and an empty building with a broken window. Marcus pulls up, his legs burning with the effort. The store's owner, a middle-aged man with a graying beard, stands behind the counter staring at his phone. Marcus approaches the counter, setting down the package with a soft thud. "Rivera," he says, his voice hoarse from talking all day. "Yeah, I see it," he mutters, reaching for the package without a word. He stands there, watching the man handle the package without any hint of appreciation, as if he's just another cog in the machine. Maybe that's all he's ever been, just another worker, invisible to the people who benefit from his labor. "Haviyami." Man doesn't look up, just shakes his head, disinterested. "Take your tip and go." Marcus blinks, confused. Not from this man, not from anyone. A reminder of his place. of how little he means. The bitterness that's been building all day flares to life. "Thanks," he mutters, taking the dollar and shoving it into his pocket. "Maybe next time you'll do a better job," the man says, half laughing to himself. He doesn't turn around. The weight of it all, of the days, the years, hangs heavy on him. The realization that nothing will ever change. He steps outside into the cold, the slap of the door behind him almost like a final punctuation to the day. His heart feels heavier. He wishes he could just let it go. It's never just one thing. He mounts his bike, the cold air hitting his face as he pedals again, the familiar ache in his legs mixing with the growing sense of hopelessness in his chest. He always does. Something he doesn't fully understand yet. Join us next time to see what comes next. For Marcus. The sun is lower now, casting long shadows across the sidewalk as he pedals towards his next stop. His mind is numb, the constant barrage of small humiliations and the cold wind making everything feel distant. But the next delivery isn't easy, not in any sense. Marcus pulls his bike to the curb, the hum of city life filling his ears. For a moment, it almost feels normal, but he can't shake the weight of the past hours. He enters, the air-conditioned chill biting at his skin, and walks up to the desk where a woman in a suit is typing away at a computer. "Delivery for Mr." The woman doesn't acknowledge him immediately, her fingers clicking away at the keyboard like he doesn't even exist. After a few seconds, she finally looks up, eyes scanning him briefly before turning her attention to the package. "Just leave it at the door." He nods and walks toward the elevator, his heart already heavy with the knowledge that this delivery will be just like the others. Just another stop on his endless route, just another reminder that he's invisible to people like her. He feels like an intruder here, like he doesn't belong. Davidson's door. A man in a suit stands in the doorway, looking at Marcus with a mixture of surprise and disdain. "Yeah?" the man asks, his voice flat, dismissive. "Davidson," Marcus says, offering the package. "What is it with you guys?" he mutters under his breath, loud enough for Marcus to hear. But this time, something inside him snaps. The man sneers, "Don't think I don't know what you people are really about." The words hit Marcus like a blow, but this time, instead of shrinking back, he stands taller, as if the anger burning inside of him might give him strength. Marcus stands there for a moment, staring at the door. The words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. It's like his body is frozen, his mind scrambling to make sense of everything that's just happened. This time, the hurt runs deeper. It's the way they're said, with so much casual disregard for his humanity. He doesn't know what to do with it, doesn't know how to release it. He feels a presence. He doesn't look around, but he knows somehow that it's there. He doesn't know how, but he feels it, like a hand, unseen but undeniable, resting on his shoulder. It's like someone has been watching over him, someone who sees him, truly sees him, and cares about him. This isn't the end. He can feel it in his bones. Will this moment of faith give him the strength to fight back, to seek justice? The following days drag on with the same weight, the same struggle, but something has shifted inside him, a quiet fire that won't let him rest, a sense that he's not alone in this fight. But somehow, it gives him a sense of purpose, of clarity. He doesn't have to let people treat him this way. His phone vibrates with a message, an update on a case he'd almost forgotten about. But now, the message says, a court date has been set. The news feels surreal. He didn't expect anything to come of it. A chance, however small, for justice. For once, he's not just invisible. The day of the trial arrives, and Marcus finds himself standing outside the courthouse, his hands trembling in his jacket pockets. But Marcus can't shake the sense of unease that hangs over him. He's used to it, sure, but this is different. As he walks into the courtroom, his heart races. Davidson is already sitting at the defendant's table. The man's lawyer leans over to whisper something in his ear, and they both glance over at Marcus. He's not sure what to expect from this moment, but he knows one thing for certain. He's not going to let this man walk away without facing what he's done. The words that were spoken to him, the harassment he's faced, the toll it has taken on his mental and emotional health. It's still just words. The defense attorney stands and calls, "Mister." The man stands tall, his suit sharp, his voice smooth as he speaks, denying the accusations, downplaying his actions, claiming that it was all just a misunderstanding, just an attempt to cover his tracks to make it seem like he's the victim here. "Isn't it true," the lawyer begins, "that you have a history of misunderstandings with customers?" Davidson's words. The question hangs in the air like a cloud, and for a moment Marcus feels the weight of it. But then something shifts. "Don't let them take your spirit, Marcus." He feels it in his chest, the steady rhythm of his breath. He feels seen. He stands up, his voice steady, his hands no longer trembling. "Mister, he used his position to make me feel less than human." Marcus can feel every eye on him, but he stands firm. The rest of the trial goes by in a blur, but in the quiet moments, in the moments where it's just Marcus and the judge, he feels something profound. It's a fight for every person who's ever been made to feel small, invisible. Marcus's voice has been heard, and the case is far from over. Will this moment lead to justice, or will the system fail him again? Stay tuned for the next chapter in Marcus's journey. Marcus's body is drained, the fatigue from the constant deliveries mixing with the emotional exhaustion of everything that has transpired. The lawyers are talking, his attorney telling him to be patient, that it could take weeks to hear a verdict. Waiting, wondering if it will all come crashing down or if, just maybe, he will see the justice he's been fighting for. His heart races as he picks it up, scanning the screen. Davidson is found liable for racial harassment and emotional distress. The words don't sink in at first. He's read the message over and over, making sure he's not misinterpreting it. The court ruled in his favor. His mind is a whirlwind of emotions. He's not sure what to feel, how to process this moment. But it's not just the legal victory. It's the realization that the world has seen him, has finally heard the pain he's been carrying for years. His phone buzzes again, and this time, it's a call. "Marcus, I've got some good news for you," his lawyer says, and there's a note of excitement in her voice. Davidson's been found liable. It's a win. Marcus feels something shift inside him, something that's been dormant for so long. He never thought this day would come, but now it feels like something bigger has shifted. "Thank you," Marcus says, his voice thick. "You did all the hard work." He looks out the window, the city spread out before him like a vast sea of lights. It's been a long road, filled with humiliation and pain, but this moment feels like a victory not just for him, but for everyone who's ever felt like they don't matter. The city is alive outside, the traffic buzzing, people going about their lives. The door slams in his face, the cruel words, the dismissive stares. All of it has been building, leading to this moment, where he can finally stand up and say, "I am here, and I am worth something." He takes a deep breath, closing his eyes for a moment. Well done, Marcus. For once he feels the warmth of justice, of knowing that this fight wasn't just about him. And now for the first time there's a light, a spark of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, things can be different. The fight for justice isn't over, and it may take time, but Marcus has shown that change is possible. Or will the battle continue in ways he doesn't yet understand? The days after the verdict are strange. The weight that Marcus had been carrying for so long is lighter now, but it's still there. Some things are too heavy to ever be fully put down. It's not a fortune, but it's enough to make Marcus feel like he's no longer just scraping by. For the first time in a long time, he feels like he can breathe a little easier. It's hard to explain, but every time he holds the check in his hands, it feels like it belongs to something bigger than just one person. They don't disappear, even though he's proven them wrong. He stands up, surprised. He opens the door to find a man standing on the other side. His face is unremarkable, but his eyes, they're tired, worn. The man clears his throat, looking down at his feet for a moment before meeting Marcus's eyes. "Davidson's neighbor," he says. He knows exactly who this man is talking about. Davidson, the man who had humiliated him in front of his building, who had tried to downplay the racist remarks. The man who had made Marcus feel like he was less than human. He feels a rush of anger rising in him, but he swallows it. "I'm here because I feel bad about it. I don't know if I can make it right, but I wanted to tell you I'm sorry." Marcus stands there for a moment, staring at the man. Why would this man come to him now? "I don't know what you want me to say," Marcus says, his voice tight. "It's not you I'm angry at." The man nods, as if he expected this response. "I just thought maybe it could make some difference." He could slam the door, but something inside him, some quiet voice, holds him back. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. "But you don't have to apologize for him." The man nods again, looking like he wants to say something more, but instead he just gives a small wave and turns to leave. He's not sure what it is. Maybe it's the release of a small tension he didn't know was there, or maybe it's the recognition that even small acts of kindness, even ones that come too late, can help heal a wound. It's not over. But in this moment, Marcus knows that the fight he's been waging is not just for him. And maybe, just maybe, he's made a small dent in that fight. As Marcus reflects on his journey, he realizes that the road ahead will be long. What lies ahead for Marcus? Stay tuned for the next chapter in his story. The victory in court, the quiet apology from Mr. It's like the storm has passed, but the air still feels heavy, as though something is still waiting to break through. The small victories, the moments of recognition, have shifted something in him, but the weight of daily life still presses down on him. But now there's a different energy in his movements. One afternoon, while Marcus is sitting on a bench at a small park, the same man from across the hall, the one who had apologized, approaches him again. "I figured you could use this," the man says, handing it to Marcus with a small smile. "I'm not sure I—" The man holds up a hand, no strings attached. He hasn't had a conversation with anyone who's genuinely treated him like this in a long time. "Thanks," Marcus says, quietly. "I've been thinking a lot," the man says after a long pause. "I should have said something to you sooner." "It's not you," he says almost absently. "It's the people who think it's okay to treat others like they don't matter. You know," the man says after a beat, "there's a lot more people out here who are like you. I think maybe we all have." Marcus nods, not sure what to say. It feels like the world has paused for just a second, like everything is waiting for something to change. Doing something more, the man asks tentatively, looking over at Marcus. Maybe taking the fight higher. The question hangs in the air, mixing with the lingering scent of fresh coffee and the stillness of the park. It feels possible. "I've been fighting for so long just to get through the day." "You already have the energy, Marcus. You've already stood up, even when the whole world was trying to push you down." For a moment, Marcus just sits there, staring at the coffee cup in his hands. Maybe it's time to stop surviving and start living. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to fight for everyone who's been silenced. "Maybe I could." The man smiles, like he knows something Marcus doesn't yet. "You've already come this far." The conversation lingers in the air as Marcus finishes the coffee. The road ahead is unclear, but he's no longer afraid to take the first step. The fight for justice doesn't end with a single victory. It continues, growing, shifting, until it becomes something that can't be ignored. Stay tuned for the next chapter in his journey. Marcus continues his deliveries, his routine mostly unchanged, but something within him has shifted. It's no longer just about getting from point A to point B, no longer about simply surviving the day. He spends his evenings thinking about what the man across the hall said, the words about fighting for something greater, about speaking out, about not just being another invisible worker in the system. But now, for the first time, he wonders what it would mean to fight for others, to fight for change, to fight for something that could impact more than just himself. But then he remembers the quiet moments, the ones when the voice in his head told him to stand tall. One afternoon, Marcus sits in a small coffee shop, the hum of quiet conversations surrounding him as he stares at his phone. He scrolls past post after post, stories of racism, harassment, exploitation, and something in him tightens. The anger, the pain of knowing that no one cares, until it's too late. He puts his phone down and takes a long, steady breath. He knows that he can't fix everything, but maybe, just maybe, he can be a part of it. He's not sure how to begin, but he knows he can't wait any longer. And he's not going to let this moment pass him by. It's a small gathering, mostly people who work in retail, in delivery, in jobs that are rarely recognized for the toll they take on a person's body and spirit. The more he hears, the more the weight in his chest grows. These are the stories of people who, like him, are just trying to get by, just trying to survive. Her voice trembles with emotion as she recalls the times she's been called names, pushed aside, treated like she doesn't matter. This isn't just his fight. Every person who has ever been made to feel small, every person who has ever been dismissed or ignored. His voice shakes at first, but as he speaks, it steadies. But what if we could do more than just survive? Marcus asks. For everyone who's been treated like they don't matter. The room goes silent for a moment, everyone looking at him as if they're hearing something for the first time. We've been fighting for the wrong things, Marcus continues, his words growing stronger with each sentence. But we should be fighting to change the system that keeps pushing us down. We deserve respect. Marcus doesn't know if this is the start of something bigger, but he can feel it in his bones, the stirring of a movement, the beginning of a change. That's been a long time coming. They talk about rallies, petitions, the possibility of organizing a larger movement to fight for better conditions for workers like them. It's not just his fight anymore, it's everyone's. He doesn't have all the answers. But for the first time he feels like he's walking towards something real, something bigger than himself. It's fuel. For the first time in his life, Marcus feels like he's not just living to survive. Marcus has taken the first step towards something bigger. Will his voice be the catalyst for a movement? Stay tuned for the next chapter in his story. Marcus throws himself into the work with a sense of urgency he hasn't felt before. He listens to their stories, shares his own, and together they begin to form something more than just a group. It's not easy, but Marcus doesn't let that discourage him. For every door that gets slammed in his face, there's another one that opens. The first rally takes place on a chilly Saturday afternoon in the EU heart of downtown. It's not huge, but it's a start. He recognizes some of the faces in the crowd, fellow delivery workers, a few warehouse employees, people who have been living with the same frustrations he's been carrying for years. Marcus can hear the low hum of voices, the sound of people talking to one another, some of them excited, others nervous, but all of them united by a common goal. He steps up to the makeshift podium, the microphone in front of him. He clears his throat. But we deserve more than just to survive. We deserve respect. Marcus feels the heat of the moment, the adrenaline coursing through his veins. This isn't just his fight anymore, it's everyone's. For too long, we've been treated like we don't matter. But we are the backbone of this city, and we will no longer be silenced. The crowd erupts in applause, the sound echoing down the street. But now, they're here. They're ready to fight. Marcus speaks a few more times, but he mostly listens now, letting others share their stories, their hopes, their dreams for a better future. As the rally starts to wind down, Marcus looks around at the crowd, his heart full. But here he is, standing in front of a group of people who have all been pushed to the brink, ready to demand what they deserve. Thank you for being here. We've started something here. He can feel the weight of it all, the responsibility, but also the power that comes with standing up, with raising his voice. He's fighting for all of them. And for the first time in his life, Marcus feels like he's found his purpose. Marcus has taken the first steps toward a future filled with possibility. Will this momentum carry him forward? Stay tuned for the next chapter in Marcus's journey. The movement Marcus has sparked begins to grow, slowly at first, but with undeniable momentum. They want to join. They want to be part of something bigger, something that will finally make a difference. He spends long hours on the phone, coordinating with people who want to bring change, people who understand the gravity of what he's trying to accomplish. For the first time in his life, he feels like he's part of something real, something that could shake the system, something that could force change. As the movement grows, so do the forces that try to push back against it. There are news stories about radicals and agitators trying to disrupt the peace. But Marcus doesn't back down. He knows that the people who've been oppressed, overlooked, and pushed aside have to be heard. He's fighting for dignity, for respect, for the chance to be seen as more than just a cog in the machine. He's young, eager, and carries the weight of a camera crew behind him. Marcus has been cautious about the media, but he also knows that if they want the truth, they need to hear it from him. Marcus, thank you for agreeing to speak with us today. What's driving you to do this? We've been told for far too long that we don't matter, but we're not invisible. But some people are saying that what you're doing is too radical, that you're trying to divide the community. The only thing dividing this community is the system that has been treating people like me, like us, as less than human. We're asking for fairness, that's not radical. But Marcus doesn't. He's past the point of silence. This is about every person who's been treated like they don't matter. This is about creating a world where no one has to feel like they're invisible anymore. The reporter nods, but there's something different in his expression now. For the first time, it feels like the message is getting through. The interview wraps up, and the reporter leaves with his camera crew, but Marcus doesn't feel relief. The movement is growing, and with it, the responsibility to keep pushing, to keep speaking up for those who can't. They don't say anything, but they don't need to. The next rally is the biggest one yet. Marcus stands at the front, watching the crowd swell, feeling a mix of fear and exhilaration rise within him. This is the moment he's been working toward. As Marcus steps up to the microphone and looks out at the sea of faces, he knows that this is just the beginning. But he's ready. He's fighting for every person who has ever been made to feel small, every person who has been ignored or mistreated. We are heard. It's not just a chant, it's a promise. The movement is gaining momentum, but the road ahead is still uncertain. The fight for justice is only beginning. As the movement continues to grow, so does the resistance. The powerful figures who've been watching from a distance are now taking notice. The first signs of this come in the form of threats. But then, one evening after a rally, Marcus returns to his apartment to find the tires on his bike slashed, a note scrawled in red marker on the wall next to his door. Keep pushing, and you'll regret it. It's a small thing, but it sends a chill down his spine. Fear gnaws at him, but so does something else, something fiercer, something that refuses to let these people intimidate him. It's about every person who's been silenced, every person who's been hurt. But the threats escalate. The windows of his car are shattered while it's parked outside his building, the glass scattering across the pavement like shattered dreams. It would be easy to walk away, to back down, to let someone else carry the burden. Not now. He calls his lawyer, who assures him that they'll take care of it, that they'll involve the police, that it's all being documented. The fight is about to get much harder. The cameras flash, the microphones hover, and behind it all, he can hear the whispers. The stakes are higher now. Marcus knows that with every rally, every step forward, the eyes on him grow sharper. We've been silenced for too long, he says, his voice steady but fierce. But we will no longer accept that. This is about everyone who's been told they don't have a voice. They want him to slip up, but Marcus doesn't give them that satisfaction. When the press conference ends, the crowd of reporters disperses, leaving Marcus with a mixture of exhaustion and anticipation. But in this moment, as he stands in front of the cameras, he feels a quiet pride. He's a symbol of change. It's the man from across the hall, the one who had apologized to him a few weeks ago. "Hey, Marcus," the man calls out, his voice quiet, almost apologetic. "What's up?" "I just wanted to check in." The man says, his hands shoved into his pockets. There's something different about him tonight, nervous maybe, like he's holding something back. "Why do you ask?" The man hesitates, looking around before speaking. "People are watching you. You've got a target on your back." Marcus's heart races, but he doesn't let it show. "I've been getting the messages, the threats." The man's eyes dart away, and his voice lowers. "There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you think, and they're willing to do anything to shut you down." Marcus feels a chill creep up his spine. the weight of the words sinking in. The man looks at him, his eyes filled with regret. Don't trust everyone. People with their own agendas. Marcus stands there, trying to make sense of what the man is saying, but the words stick with him. Later that evening, Marcus sits in his apartment staring at the empty walls, but as he sits there, he knows one thing for sure. He's not backing down. The world is watching. The storm is here. Will he find a way to keep going, or will the pressure of this fight break him? He's a force for change. The threats against Marcus and the movement continue, more pointed and menacing with each passing day. But it's not just the fear that weighs on him. Marcus has always known what it feels like to be invisible, to be underestimated. The movement is no longer just a fight for workers' rights. It's a symbol of defiance, a challenge to a system that has kept millions silent for far too long. One evening, as Marcus walks to the community center for a meeting, he notices a black SUV parked across the street. He doesn't know why, but something about it feels wrong, the hairs on the back of his neck standing on end. Inside the community center, the mood is different than usual. It's as if the fear has crept into the very air, and no one knows how to shake it. They're planning the next major rally, the one that will draw attention from the media, from lawmakers, from everyone who has been ignoring the movement up until now. But the tension is palpable. As the group discusses the logistics, he can't help but glance over his shoulder, his eyes flicking to the door every few seconds, half expecting someone to walk in, half expecting the confrontation he's been waiting for. The message is brief, but the words make his blood run cold. We know where you are. It's not too late to stop. The fear is immediate, but it's quickly replaced by something else, something deeper. They want to intimidate him, to make him doubt himself, to make him back down. His mind races as he stands up. The rally will happen. There's fear in their eyes, but there's something else too. Determination. They've been pushed down, beaten back, silenced, but they keep rising. The day of the rally arrives. The crowd is massive, more than he expected. They stand together, not just for workers' rights, but for justice, for dignity, for the right to be seen as human. The weight of their eyes on him is heavy, but he doesn't flinch. We've come here today not just for ourselves, but for every person who's been treated like they don't matter. We are here because we will not be silent anymore. The crowd erupts into cheers, the energy palpable, the sound of their voices shaking the ground beneath his feet. This is the moment when the system can no longer ignore them. A group of counter-protesters appears on the other side of the street. But there's something more in their eyes, something menacing. At first, the police try to keep the two groups separated. The line between the two sides grows thin, fragile. Then suddenly, it happens. The crowd gasps, a moment of stunned silence before everything goes wild. Marcus's heart pounds in his ears as he tries to keep control, trying to maintain some semblance of order. The sound of sirens blares in the distance, and Marcus feels a cold weight settle in his stomach. The world is watching. He turns around to see a man, someone from the counter-protest, charging at him. The blow knocks Marcus back, but he doesn't fall. He knows this isn't just about him. It's about everything he's been fighting for, everything this movement represents. But the damage has already been done. As the crowd disperses, Marcus stands in the midst of it all, his jaw aching, his body bruised but unbroken. The system, the people in power, they've seen him. And they won't stop until they've destroyed everything Marcus is trying to build. Not now. The storm has come. Will this moment of chaos mark the end of the movement, or will it ignite a fire that burns even brighter? Stay tuned for the next chapter in Marcus's journey. The violent altercation has sparked an outcry, both for and against the movement. His name is on everyone's lips now, but it's not the way he expected. But even as the world spins in reaction, Marcus remains grounded in his purpose. The pressure is immense, but it only serves to solidify his resolve. They want to see him crumble, under the weight of the media, the threats, the fear. He knows the road ahead is going to be brutal. The people supporting the movement are nervous, unsure of the next step. But the reality of the fight for justice is now staring them all in the face. He's not expecting anyone and it's late. "Marcus, we need to talk," she says, her voice tense, her face creased with worry. "They're taking legal action against you." Marcus's heart sinks. And it's not just that. He knew there would be backlash, but he didn't think it would come so fast, so hard. "But we need to be prepared for a long battle." His mind is swirling. How do you fight against something so powerful? But even as the fear threatens to overtake him, he remembers why he started this in the first place. He knows he can't give up now. "This isn't just about me," Marcus says, his voice steadying. "We can't back down now." His lawyer nods, though her expression remains grim. "But we need to prepare. The legal team works tirelessly to prepare Marcus for the battles ahead, but he knows the fight will be exhausting. The pressure from the city, the media, the opposition, it's all mounting. The country is polarized, torn between those who believe in the cause and those who see it as a threat to the status quo. The threats increase. Marcus is invited to speak at a national conference on workers' rights, a huge opportunity to speak directly to lawmakers, to change the narrative. The storm is here, and it's only getting stronger. The lights blur in the distance, but his thoughts are sharp, his focus unwavering. He pulls out his phone and scrolls through messages of support from people he's never met, people who've been inspired by his words, by the movement he's created. The next morning, Marcus gets dressed in his best suit, his lawyer by his side as they prepare to leave for the conference. Today, he's not just fighting for himself. When he steps onto the stage at the conference, the room falls silent. The weight of their eyes on him is heavy, but Marcus stands tall, his heart beating in his chest like a drum. "We've been told that our work doesn't matter, but we are not invisible. We are here, and we are demanding change." The crowd listens, some skeptical, some moved by his words. The fight is no longer just about him. The storm is far from over, and the pressure is mounting on Marcus and the movement. Will his voice be enough to continue the fight, or will the forces against him prove too strong? The national conference feels like the calm before the storm. The media spins it one way, lawmakers another. The more he hears, the more he realizes how polarized the world has become. As the conference comes to a close, Marcus and his team head back to the city, the weight of what lies ahead settling heavier on his shoulders with each passing mile. The air between them is thick with unspoken words, but Marcus knows exactly what she's thinking, and the forces against him are only growing stronger. It's a message from a supporter, and as he reads it, his chest tightens. There are rumors they're planning something bigger. This one feels more urgent. He sits at his kitchen table, papers scattered in front of him, the weight of the movement bearing down on him in ways he hasn't felt before. The next day, Marcus meets with his lawyer again. They discuss the next steps, the ongoing threats, and how they can protect the movement while still pushing forward with their cause. "Marcus," his lawyer begins, her voice steady but laced with concern, "we're entering dangerous territory. You're not just challenging a system. But we can't stop, not after everything that's happened." The lawyer nods, looking at him with a mixture of admiration and worry. It's going to get harder before it gets better. A week later, Marcus is at another rally, this one larger than the last. People have shown up from all walks of life, workers, families, students, everyone eager to take a stand. But as Marcus stands at the front, preparing to speak, the atmosphere changes. He looks around at the crowd, seeing the nervous glances, the wary faces. As he steps up to the podium, ready to speak, the sound of sirens cuts through the air. A group of counter-protesters, organized and aggressive, push their way into the crowd. The police are quick to respond, trying to separate the two groups, but the tension is palpable. A rock is thrown. A glass bottle shatters on the ground near Marcus. Marcus watches in horror as the crowd begins to panic, people pushing, shoving, trying to get away. The violence has already started. His heart races, his thoughts scattered as he pushes through the crowd. Someone's grabbed him, their hands pulling him, shoving him. When Marcus regains consciousness, the first thing he hears is shouting. His head is pounding, and there's a taste of blood in his mouth. His lawyer is there, frantic, trying to calm him down. "You're going to be okay." But Marcus doesn't hear her. His body aches. And the pain in his side is sharp. It's the image of the rally, the chaos, the violence that has erupted. "I have to go back," Marcus whispers, his voice hoarse. "Marcus, no. You need time." But Marcus doesn't listen. He knows that this fight is bigger than him, bigger than anyone. The storm has broken and the world is watching. Will he find the strength to continue, or will the forces against him prove too much?